you tired of hustling, of the never-ending to-do list? Doesn't reset feel good, desired? I don't know about you, but we were in an era, I say we're in the past tense because I kind of quit on that, but we were in an era of doing. We were busy doing and doing and doing, and it was never enough. And there was always something else to do. And I think now it's time to get out of the hustle and start the reset. So my guest this week is Christel Arcucci, who's an embodiment wealth mentor, healer, writer, artist, performer, speaker. She's passionate about empowering people over 40, create millions, build legacy with sensual and financial freedom. Christel, thank you so much for accepting my invitation today.
It is such a delight to be here with you today, Sarah.
So before we start, I have to ask, where are you in the world right now?
I am near Santa Fe, New Mexico in the US.
Nice. I asked because every time we speak, you're at a different place. You are what we call a digital nomad.
Yes.
So that means that you work and travel and work and wherever you kind of feel like it.
Yes. I mean, I definitely follow weather that is desirable for me, which generally means avoiding winter and avoiding extreme heat. So it's an adventure.
I love it. Which is very apropos of our conversation today on how to get out of the hustle.
Yes.
We live in an era, and we've been in this era for a while now, of hustling, of performance, of doing, and it's always doing more. Like people's to-do lists are a never-ending list. It's like Santa Claus letter, it kind of never stops like this. So that's one of the things that you help people with, is managing that, and how does that show up? So first, how do you see that people are stuck in the hustle?
I find that people are so focused in our culture in doing, right? It's like you were saying, is like pushing, doing more, getting more, the status, the like external validation. Mm-hmm. While it isn't about like sell everything and live out of a backpack, unless that is your thing, but it is about slowing down to enjoy what you have more, right? Like dialing back the intensity of, even if your life is very busy, in general, most people are eating every day, bathing every day, getting dressed every day. So there are ways to enjoy more. So it's like bringing that being component into the doing, right? Be, do, have. It's like, okay, where's the being aspect? For most people, most of my clients are women as well, and mothers. So that being part is eliminated because there's so much pressure of taking care of everybody else and raising children and often running a business and having a partnership, that the being gets lost. Mm-hmm. Yet my work is really about bring the being in, who you are, no matter how busy you are. You're always breathing as well. And so making mindfulness practices, taking a slower, deeper breath, because you can do that anywhere. You can do that in a boardroom. You can do that at a stop signal. You can do that when your child is screaming, although it's harder then.
Good headphones.
Yes.
You mentioned one thing, and I would like you to expand on that. The be, do, have. Can you expand on that? What does it mean?
Yes. Well, as I mentioned, the doing, like the to-do list, the never-ending to-do list, which if only it felt as good as Santa Claus's list, never ending, doing the to-do list of this to that to the next thing. And at the end of the day, not everything has been done already. So we know that the doing is never ending. There's not a nonstop to-do list. Mm-hmm. And then also, so many of us are overwhelmed by what we have, right? It flips from having things that we delight and enjoy to those things, our possessions, owning us. an element of there's no longer delight and enjoyment of the things that we have. And that comes from that being component being lost, right? In that I'm not enjoying what I'm doing because I'm so stressed, right? I'm in a fight or flight stress response most of the time. People are, even if there isn't a life-threatening situation, that our stress system is activated. We're running on adrenaline and cortisol. How can, and that all shifts from coming into being. Can you feel, like I believe you're standing where you are, can you feel where your feet are on the ground? Can you feel where your hands are resting on the desk? Can you feel your hair flowing down the back of your neck? Can you feel your breath moving in and out of your body? Can you see the color of my shirt? Right? It's like when we bring that being component in, it brings a richness to whatever we're doing, even in stressful times. Like before the recording started, both you and I talked a little bit about all of the things on our plates currently, and both of us are managing a lot. Yet in those moments where it's like, can I feel my body? Can I feel my heartbeat? Can I feel my breath? Can I allow myself to be human first, be a human woman for both of us? That shifts the doing and the having. It makes it more enjoyable, even if it's stressful. Like for me, I bring comedy in. Like there was a really intense situation over here for me on the weekend, which was just so off the rails. And I just started laughing hysterically, and it was not funny. It was not funny at all. But that's my go-to, and I use comedy in my work appropriately with clients to bring laughter in, because when we're laughing, it literally changes our brains. It changes how we're breathing. And so then it allows us to have a different perspective, to snap out of stress response, to move into having a different perspective. Being in the experience of being a human in 2022 is not easy for most of us. So then how can we make it more enjoyable, no matter how stressful the situation is? Because being tight and not breathing and being in an activated nervous system makes everything harder.
Yes, and I find that more and more of us are in this activated, I call it the jacked up nervous system of doing, and I got to do this and I got to do that, and it never ends, right? And there's always going to be something. And I like how you mentioned before, like because of all the stuff that we have, but I also see entrepreneurs stuff because, well, they have a team of 5 people where they were super happy to have this, but now they're feeling the pressure of, okay, so I have to have work for everyone. I have to make sure that they're doing all the right things, and it just never stops. So it's like, I got to do more because, yes, maybe because I have a big house and whatever, but I also have to do more because I'm really happy to have a team, but I'm also responsible for this team. And then add in clients and life and children and everything else that goes around on top of that. People's nervous system is like so tense.
Yes, so wound up. And so that's, to me, the first step is is the doing and the having, right? It's not easy to shift those. The only one that we have the most control over, which is the hardest to change, is the being. Right? Like for me to just look at my to-do list and be like, I'm not going to do any of it, right? Like you couldn't do that either. I mean, you could if you wanted to wreck your business and your life. So it's like the being is where I have the most power, yet it is the hardest one to implement, right? To be like, before I begin my day, right? My day begins with my personal practices. And that sets the tone. Also, for me, my business is part of my spiritual practice. So I approach it in a very different perspective than, flipping open the laptop before I have tended to my body, right? That it's, I am bringing my being into everything that I'm doing. And that does, like I said, take practice, right? To remember to breathe.
Remember to breathe. And I'm trying to make my sentence here. Choose how we want to be. Because, you brought in humor, deciding who do I want to be? How do I want to be? So I want to be somebody who sees things in humor. I'm somebody who wants to be calm. So when we decide who we want to be, then that starts to shift from externally being pushed by the hustle to being more intentional with who we are. Right?
Exactly. Yes, it gives us that point of choice because we can feel so pushed and pulled by the doing that we feel like we have no choice. I have this to-do list, I have the children, I have everything, I have no choice. But most of the time we chose our lives, right? Most of the people watching this is like, you chose what you're doing and having in your life. So who do you want to be is a beautiful question to bring into this and to ask it every day. Or what qualities of being do I want to bring in? Right? Like, I had an interesting moment recently where there was a contractor here, a plumber, doing some work, and one of the neighbors came because we're off the grid and we're all on the same water system. And she was concerned that what they were doing at my place was going to impact hers. And she said to the plumber, the neighbor said, "Oh, it must be awful to be a plumber." And first of all, I was just like, what? Why? What? And the beautiful thing about the plumber, it was this younger guy in his 30s. He looked at her and he said, "I love my job." And I just wanted to high five him in that moment, as well as I felt blessed, right? To have this man on the property trying to help me that loves his job. He loves to solve this problem. He loves to crawl into the house to figure out what is going on with the plumbing. And it was that moment of, I had a contraction about what the neighbor said, but then he was just in this full, I love my job. I love what I do. And I felt blessed to have somebody here that loves his job instead of a plumber that hates his job and is resentful that he has to crawl into the house and doesn't care that much. But it was that point of choice for him he loves what he does. And he wasn't afraid of saying it to her, right? Of saying, "No, you're mistaken, because I love my job." And it gave me that opportunity to feel this, of course, incredible sense of relief and to feel a connection with him and trying to figure out what was going on.
And when we love what we do, because often we love what we do, but it's out of passion, out of an intensity. But when we're more of a peaceful, and I love how you bring the, be who I want to be. This guy wants to be happy.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that when you're in a space where you just want to be happy, you make completely different decisions, which will impact the doing.
Yes. And to recognize, like, do I want to be a plumber? No. Do I want to crawl into the house? No. Am I thrilled to have a man here on the property that loves to do that? Yes. So part of it is for us to recognize that all of us have different genius to bring to the world, right? Plumber that likes doing what he does, all the different people. Everyone has a different genius. And when we're doing what we love, when we're being who we want to be in the world, then it changes everything. It changes the fabric of humanity, right? To be connected to what we're doing and to build a life where we're being and doing aligned with who we want to be, knowing we're never going to do it perfectly, right? There's going to be moments in the stress that I'm managing. Yes, there's going to be moments where we break down. But is the majority of the time, are we continuing to align with who we want to be or the qualities we want to bring to what we're doing? Because that's the choice point. Again, it's like, if you're doing something you don't love, are you bringing stress to that activity? Or are you bringing, okay, I'm going to breathe, I'm going to feel my body, because that changes our physiology. It literally changes our bodies and our minds so that when we're approaching this task, when we do something in stress mode, we're less effective.
Yes.
And, you know, our brains don't work as well. So when we can be like, okay, this task is not my favorite, I haven't been able to outsource it yet, or it has to be done by me. What is the energy I'm going to take to it? What is the feeling quality I'm going to take to that activity? It changes everything. It also makes things go easier. Like, when was the last time you were in a rush trying to get something done and it went perfectly?
No,
Usually
never. I can say
doesn't happen that way.
No, because usually when we're rushed, when we're tense, we kind of go fast, miss things, press the wrong button, do this, do that, and it just never works out.
Right.
You know? And even like, I'm thinking of entrepreneurs who are meeting clients. I have a lot of entrepreneurs who are going from one meeting to another, to another, to another, to another. In the hustle mode, you can't tell me that you're fully present for your client if you just got out of another meeting and you have another one coming up. You can't be there. You're going to miss out on what's not being said, which is really where we have the biggest impact, is having those conversations and picking up on cues that I can only pick up if I have headspace. So I think one of the key elements that you're bringing up is around mindfulness.
Yes. And the practice of that.
You
know, and it is a practice, because part of it can be, if you have a really demanding schedule, are you breathing, right? Like, the breath is one of the most underutilized tools that we always have with us, right? You literally cannot survive more than a few minutes without your breath, but most of us are breathing a fraction of our capacity, which means our brain capacity is limited. All of our internal organs are limited. So part of it is, if you're in one of those phases of push, of, you know, having a back-to-back schedule, bringing the mindfulness practice of more consciously breathing, of being in your body, instead of, it's only about my brain. Because the reality is, if your body is stressed, your brain is stressed. So
that's a keeper. That's a keeper, memorizer, tweetable moment.
Yes. And so how can you, so again, this is part of, like, you can't change what you have to do, but you can change the quality of being that you are bringing to what you're doing. And your breath, in my opinion, is the best tool, because nobody's going to be like, you're breathing in this meeting, I'm really offended. Like, it's not going to happen.
Actually, and even the opposite, if I slow down my breathing and I'm more present, automatically the person, my client, will slow down and get out of their head, and it's automatically going to have a better and a deeper conversation, because we're both in a state of calm, of presence, of, instead of being in the chaos of both of our heads.
Yes. And a deeper state of connection, right? If like, for anyone who's curious, if you go back to the part of the interview where I was guiding you through a small mindfulness practice, I didn't even instruct you to breathe. But when I was guiding you to feel your feet, feel your hands, you automatically took a deeper breath. Your whole presence changed. And so it's that simple. And again, people aren't going to be offended by you breathing more deeply, by you being more connected to your body. It's going to shift everything in a positive way. So it's one of those things you can practice, try it on. If you're in a meeting, you know, a meeting with many people, or if you're in a meeting simply just with a client, even if it's over the phone or over Zoom, practice grounding. If you're sitting, feeling your hips on the chair, if you're standing, feeling your feet on the floor, taking a slower breath. And it changes who you are. It changes your presence. It changes your being, which automatically impacts the meeting and invites the other person to be more present.
And, you know, what I've noticed is that when I'm more grounded with in meetings with my own clients, and when I slow down, we get a lot of stuff that are on the to-do list just scratched out, because we see that they're not going to make a difference. They're not needle movers.
Yes.
So automatically in the doing, there's a lot less to do, because we focus on really like the things that are going to make a difference. Yes. Let go of the rest, which gives, in the having, in your third step, more time, more results, better results, and overall, like more joy out of the whole thing.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
how many people, like, they have a good business, they have the revenue, they have the money, they have the clients, but they're not actually enjoying it.
Exactly. Exactly. So that practice of being in your body, of bringing the presence, of choosing the quality you want to bring to your work, to your engaging with your child or your partner, or, you know, the person that's serving your coffee, whatever it is, creating connection is what life is about, right? Connection with ourselves, connection with other people, connection with our environment, connection with our homes, right? So that we're enjoying more of what we have, enjoying more of what's happening in the world, because from what it seems, things aren't going to be calming down anytime soon on planet Earth. So part of it is to be like, okay, with that being the case, how can I enjoy this life? How can I enjoy what's happening, instead of what we often do in our minds is go, when everything is perfect, then I'll relax. Which is pretty much, you're guaranteed that is never going to happen. Then you're never going to relax until you stop breathing and it's game over. So part of it is to be like, how can I bring more of the qualities that I want to experience into my life, so it isn't dependent upon things being perfect for me to be able to enjoy it? Because that's an unattainable, impossible, in my opinion, trauma response, you know, to like, it, when everything is perfect, then I can relax.
Oh, and we're so good to do that. Like, when I have the money, I'll go on the trip. When I have the time, I'll go and relax. When I have the, so we could have, we could just say, I will never do that, because
Right.
it's never about the thing. And I was telling before we started recording, we all have mottos. Okay, we all do. And I believe that we have mottos, like, it's kind of like people, you know, we have mottos that are there for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And one of my seasonal motto right now is, when in doubt, just go to the spa, Sarah. And like, do I have nothing to do that I can go to the spa? No, we all have gazillion things. But exactly as in the being at the spa and just breathing and relaxing and just calming, allows me to step back, reevaluate everything. What am I doing? What do I want? Is it in alignment? Is it, and getting out of the doing more, and say, you know what, what's really important? What's really going to make a difference for me? And just dropping the rest and being okay with dropping the rest.
And your go to the spa response is doing exactly what I'm saying. It's moving you into a state of receptivity, of presence, of actually feeling, right? Because you don't go to get a massage or, you know, get a pedicure or sit in the jacuzzi to stress out about it, right? It automatically slows down your nervous system. It slows down your heart rate. It gives you a different perspective. It moves you out of a stress state into a more relaxed state, which automatically, like I said, it helps our brains function better, so that we evaluate what are the most important things that need to happen. My to-do list is never ending, so it helps you prioritize the things that are the most important from a more relaxed state, which gives you that sense of presence, quality of being that's more desirable and enjoyable for you. And then you can go back into what you're doing and enjoying what you have in your life, right? Because you've built a beautiful life for yourself. So when you can dial back to pick up that piece of, who am I being in this moment? Am I being who I want to be? What is the quality of my presence? Is it what I want? And if it isn't, then it's like, what are your reset buttons? For now, for you, your reset button is go to the spa. One of my reset buttons are go outside, right? Go for a walk, go, even if it's like undesirable weather. For me, out in nature is an automatic reset button for me, which is, it's important to know what those are for everyone listening. What are your reset buttons that automatically bring you back into a quality of being? And to have a list of ones, I recommend some that cost money, like going to the spa, it costs money. Going out in nature costs no money unless it's gas to drive someplace. But having lists of things that are easy, that can take 5 minutes or can take a weekend, right? It's like knowing what those things are for you. You know, for a lot of people, taking a bath, doing a stretching practice, meditating, journaling, drawing, right? Cooking, whatever it is.
Breathing.
Yes. But for some people, that's something they need to learn, sadly.
Yes.
But for each person, it's like finding what those reset buttons are, from the smallest one. And I do recommend breathing, you know, one breath, one deep, gentle breath can change your physiology and your psychology quickly. And then knowing what those other things are for each person. What are those reset buttons that help me reconnect with who I am being in the moment, so that I can enjoy what I'm doing, that I can enjoy what I have?
I love that. Make a list of what are your reset buttons. It's crazy how we don't know.
I do.
Fine with awareness we do, but in general, we don't know.
As in general, you're right. People don't know. They're like, what do you enjoy in your life?
On the treadmill and just continuing, you know?
Yes, it's true. Most people don't know. And most of the ways that people think they're resetting are numbing, right? Scrolling Instagram is not a reset button. It's a numbing mechanism. And most of us have issues with our devices. So it's like, what are the things where we set down the device or turn it on airplane mode? What are the things that really bring us into a more enjoyable state, a more relaxed state, that are, and I first recommend the ones that are the easiest, right? Like taking a deep breath, you can do that anywhere. What are the things that support you to hit the reset button, that are from easiest and free to, yes, a weekend away at the spa or traveling, or the things that cost money, but it's good to know those things as well. Like some people, international travel is like the best reset button in the world. For other people, international travel is stressful.
Yes, and I want to be able to also pick and choose. Oh, I have 3 minutes now before my next call, my next meetings. Oh, you know what? From my list of like, I call them small, medium, large, like small actions is take a breath. Okay, you know what? Can I do that?
Yes. For me, dance break, that's another big one.
Do those two once in a while.
Yeah.
They bring me joy. They don't relax me. They bring me joy. They hype me up. But again, like being this mindfulness, this self-awareness.
Right. Right. And it's not, the reset button in the being is not just about relaxed, right? So like a dance break in after an intense client session where you have another one to go into, a dance break where it brings you joy could be the best state of being, right? So being isn't necessarily all about relaxed. Moving from stress to relaxed is good, but also from stress to joy, that's more desirable as well. So, you know, having a dance break because you want to feel pumped up for your next client session could be the ideal moment, right? So it's like the states of being that you want, like playfulness is one of my key core values. So how do I bring playfulness into challenging situations? How do I bring pleasure into what I'm doing, even if it's stressful? So it's like knowing those states of being that are your priority in your life, because they're going to be different than mine.
Yeah.
You know, connection is a core value for me. So how do I create that with the people I care about, or with the, you know, checkout person at the market? Right. So connection, playfulness, I want to bring those things to all of my interactions with people. So knowing what your core values are, and then seeing how you can bring more of those into your state of being, no matter what you're doing.
That's the name of the game. Christel, before asking my last question, where can people find you online?
I am almost everywhere.
In a playful matter, I'm assuming.
Well, yes, that's true, because there, you know, immediately we came to mind with Snapchat, which I am not on Snapchat. Do not look for me there.
Good.
So my name is Christel Arcucci. You can find my website at embodywellthy.com, and I'm on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest and YouTube. I'm all the important places to me.
Come on. Perfect. We'll make sure we link those. And there's one thing, and I remember when last time we spoke, you talked about back pains.
Yes.
What does that signify?
Yes. Well, the very short version of my story is I had a back injury when I was 17 years old. I was a competitive athlete, and the doctor told me I was never going to compete again. I wouldn't have an active lifestyle. I was going to be on pain medication for the rest of my life. I didn't like that sentence, that life sentence. I was like, no, thank you. So it set me on the path of becoming a holistic health practitioner with a variety of modalities. And for a lot of years, back pain was my specialty because, of course, I shifted my own experience of back pain and healed it. Mm-hmm. And so then people started asking me, like, will you help me? And in that process of helping clients reduce back pain, eliminate back pain, I discovered when it was low back pain, it was often connected to their relationship with money, which most people are surprised about, which you were when I said it.
Yes, that's why I brought it up. Yes.
Yes. So low back in the body, energetically, right? The lower part of the core of our body is connected to survival, right? And in the current state of the world, money is part of what we need to survive. So when we feel unstable or uncertain in our relationship with money, that can show up in the physical body as back pain. For me, there was both some weaknesses in my physical body, but when I focused on building the strength to support that, as well as doing the energetic emotional work around my relationship with money, then it changed everything. And it also changed my career, because then I kept talking about money. I decided at that point to become a wealth coach, to learn about how I could coach people around money. And it's one of the things I don't see. I see a lot of people talking about money mindset. I see a lot of people talking about back pain, but bringing the embodied relationship of money and wealth together. How do you physically feel in your body when we talk about money? And that comes from what we've talked about in this is slowing down our nervous system, looking at how we relate to money, and building what I call a secure relationship with money, which comes from the attachment theory in psychology. So building a secure relationship with money, again, not based upon when I have $4 billion, I'm going to feel secure, because there's lots of people that have a lot of money that don't feel secure in their relationship with money or in their life. So it's that core work of how can I feel safe in my body, in my life, in my financial state, no matter what is happening. Because most often it's our stories in our mind, the stress state, the stressed mind is trying to run our lives. And so part of this is all dialing it back to, what does wealthy actually mean to you? And most often the number in the bank account is not a guarantee that you're going to feel wealthy. And to me, embody wealthy, that is feeling more, enjoying the light that's coming in the windows behind me, looking into your eyes, seeing the artwork behind you. It's the richness of this moment. And yes, money can help us have a better experience, a beautiful environment and clothes that we like and connecting with people. So it's not to, say money is bad, but to make it so that we really actually enjoy the experience of having, receiving, spending, investing money, so that it becomes a joyful practice rather than like, oh, I have to do my accounting. That it becomes a practice of, again, bringing more of the qualities of being into what we're doing in our life so that we can enjoy it more.
Yeah, and we have full back circle to the being. So it influences everything else.
Yes. Well, it's the first thing that we most often skip in the modern world, right? Because there isn't space for it. We're not taught about it. So how can we come back to the experience of being in this body right now? Who am I being? What quality of being do I want to bring to this connection? Then what am I doing? And how am I enjoying what I'm having? Because I think people also miss that in the having. They have all the things. Yet, are you enjoying having all of the things? Or is it just creating mostly more stress in your life? So those are the key things to shift that can change everything. And again, it isn't about having more or getting rid of things. It's more just about, are you in your body? Can you move your body out of a stress state, your body mind out of a stress state, to enjoy who you are, enjoy what you're doing, no matter what it is, just like the plumber, he loves his job.
Love it, love it.
And also enjoy what you have.
Yeah, it's that simple.
It is simple and not easy.
Let's go with this simplicity. Christel, thank you so much for accepting my invitation today.
Yes, it has been such a pleasure to connect with you. It's been a great conversation.
Yes,
Thank you.
I hope you like this episode. I hope you take the time to really put pen to paper, make a list. What are the small, medium, large reset buttons that fit you? How do you numb yourself? I know that sometimes I'll go on social media just to numb. Sometimes I'll go as a small way to recharge. I'll go and read a joke. I'll go and read a video. So it can go in two categories. Again, it comes back to being intentional. But write down, how do you like to reset? What makes you feel great? How do you numb? So when now we can get out of the hustle, we don't need to numb as much because we are more intentional. And when we follow the formula, be, do, have, I can promise you that that's where we see that so much more is possible. Again, thank you for being here week after week, and I will see you next Tuesday.